Bama hangs on to beat South Carolina this past Saturday, and this is how I would describe it. Bama versus South Carolina was the appetizer for us in the week that was week 7. Guys, that game, take your fandom out of it, take everything out of it. That game was really fun to watch. Now, if you're an Alabama fan, I'm sure it wasn't necessarily at the end fun to watch because South Carolina gets an onside kick. Nick Harbor makes a play at the end of the game. They have a chance to go down and win it or at least kick a field goal. It wasn't fun if you're a Bama fan. Probably not fun if you were a South Carolina fan either, but nevertheless, it was a really good football game just if you're an overall fan. Alabama does beat South Carolina 27-25 in a thriller. Look, I got to admit something. We had Clint Lamb from On 3 on this week, and I asked him this, and I thought that this was going to happen, and it didn't. I thought Alabama was going to come out and prove a point after having a very disappointing loss the week before against Vanderbilt. That did not happen. Now, the first half, I thought that you looked locked in and focused, and you executed really well. You handed the football off. Jam Miller got going. Jam Miller had seven carries for 81 yards. I thought you established the running game. You look good there. You go down and score. And about midway through the second quarter, something changed. Something happened. Now, I don't know if it's because South Carolina's defensive line, who is a really good unit. They are a very, very good unit because they got after you. If I would have told you this time last week that South Carolina would have more total yards, more passing yards, more rushing yards, and would have got an onside kick in the fourth quarter, you would say that Bama lost. Shane Beamer's inability to be able to orchestrate something at the end is why South Carolina continues to lose these close and clutch games. He's not a great coach. At least he's not acting like a great coach right now. What in the good wide world is happening in Tuscaloosa? Well, that's a question everybody keeps answering, and this is what I think is going on. Guys, it's what everybody in the country goes through when you have a new coaching regime. It's what happens when the greatest coach of all time steps down and retires, and you bring somebody else in. Whether you like it or not, whether you think that you're up to a standard or not, Nick built that standard. Bear built that standard. It's going to take time to build the standard of what Kalen DeBoer is. Now, do I think that some of the leniency is warranted? Yes. Do I think that they're still making boneheaded decisions as a coaching staff? Also, yes. Defensively, you came out in zone coverage and you were having success. And then you went right back to what you were doing against Vandy the week before. And you did that coming into the second half. And South Carolina has a drive for 8 minutes and they go in and score. You're playing man-to-man coverage. You let Lenora Sellers run all over you on crucial third downs, and they come back and they score. And they get into the end zone and they make it a game. The lack of here's what I'm going to say about Alabama. I think that the lack of adjustments that you have defensively and the lack of execution and willingness to want to run the football offensively is why you look as bad as you do. Guys, you're making no adjustments. You did in the very last part of the game where you ran zone coverage, you get an interception to clinch a victory. Why are you going away from things that are working? I don't know. Why they are not trying to run the football is beyond me. Guys, if I would have told you that Jam Miller would have over 10 yards a carry, you would have probably said, sounds about right, but we need to get him more touches. 80 yards and a touchdown. It's what he had. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can put my thumb on exactly where the struggles are at. I think you're going through what everybody goes through when a coaching change happens. And I think that I know that sounds simple and it probably may seem like a lazy take, but it's just the truth. But your lack of adjustments in crucial situations is why these games are close. Now, you found a way to win with this one. And I'm glad you found a way to win this one for your own sake. Guys, you can't do that this week against Tennessee. Tennessee's a better overall defense and better overall team than South Carolina. They're a better overall team than Vandy. They are. Now, Nico Iamalava's issues throwing the football, that's warranted. And if I had to pick on a Monday morning who would win the football game, I'd probably lean Bama. But there just comes a part where, man, you're continuously letting teams stay in games with you. You're playing up and down to the level of your opponent. It's not good. South Carolina, look, man, you have a really good defense. Your front seven is elite. I think it's the best one of, if not the best front sevens in the country. Your secondary is really good. You don't have a quarterback, and your head coach doesn't know what he's doing. He just doesn't. So South Carolina should maybe have a loss, maybe two. I mean, should they have lost that LSU game? Probably not. Should they have lost this past week against Alabama? Probably not. God, if you're a South Carolina fan, I don't know how you feel right now because you know your defense is really good. Guys, this is one of the best defenses in the SEC that you went up against. And to Alabama fans, I warned you about it all week. It's a shame Beamer continues to find ways to lose in crucial situations. All right.